For this week in review, let's talk about wrapping up our Chapter 12 test in the book and beginning the 18-day final review. So this last Friday was the posted due date for the Chapter 12 test. The deadline is this Thursday for that, and all your work must be done by 2:45 on Thursday as we wrap up the book. Now, if you did test already on Friday, then you're going to notice there's absolutely nothing scheduled for you for the next 4 days. Take some time off. You are not required, nor do I expect you to start your 18-day review yet, unless you would like to start it sooner. Feel free to put the stats book away and don't look at it for a few days. Now, I want to briefly highlight what you can expect over the next 18 days as we work our way toward the national final exam. Now, no assignment in the 18-day review goes into summative. It's all formative. It's at approximately 4,000 points of formative work. So to maintain your current grade, you really need to stay on top of the formative work and get credit for it. You could have a little bit of wiggle room to miss some assignments because you can't make up the points if you feel like you can do that within your grade. But I do encourage you to not think of it as a grade in the grade book, but as a preparation for the big exam in May. And I would encourage you to try to stay on pace the best that you can. We start off our review with day one of taking a 90-minute 40 multiple choice diagnostic. It's an actual exam that was given, and you will submit your answers online. There will be a timer for 90 minutes. Try to do this in one sitting and get a feel for how the exam may possibly go for you. It is not graded, but to help you set a baseline. Then that next day two is going to be a 90 minutes again, but for the 6 free response, where you sit down and do your best to try to do that work. We will then wrap that up with a day 3 of analyzing your results from both the multiple choice and the free response to try to see which learning objectives you know and which ones you don't know, and maybe to see which ones weren't covered in this particular year's exam. Now, all of these assignments will have deadlines to get the points. For example, the day 1, the deadline to actually complete that multiple choice diagnostic is going to be Monday morning at 7 a.m. for the 500 points. To do day 2 and day 3, which is the free response and analysis of your results, the deadline is going to be for that on Friday by 2:45 p.m. to get those 500 points also. Now, the remaining 15 days of review are going to be very similar. If you take a look at this particular day, you're going to see a multiple choice practice and a free response practice. So you're always going to start with multiple choice, where again, it's just graded on your effort, not on what you get, and you will have feedback on the correct responses and why other responses were not correct. You will also have a free response to try and upload, and then you can review and see what the correct answer was. Now, topic 1 is exploring data, and it covers 3 days of chapters 1, 2, and 3. So you're going to basically see that broken out as 1 day for each of the 3 chapters. Now, the second topic is designing a study, and that was just chapter 4 alone. You are going to notice this one still is going to cover 3 days. Chapter 4 alone is 15% of your overall exam, so it's important that we review how you design a good study. The third topic is going to be probability, and that was going to be covering chapters 5, 6, and 7. Here you're going to notice we're going to spend 5 days, which is obviously a few more days than 1 day per chapter. Students in the past had recommended and asked to have more review on probability because they felt like it wasn't as fresh in their brain. So I do like to spend a few more days to give you some more exposure to probability. So I do recommend that you try to focus on those as much as you can. The review then wraps up with 4 scheduled days to actually cover topic 4, which was statistical inference. The nice thing about this is we are covering over 5 chapters, but only in 4 days, because this topic tends to be more fresh in students' brains since it's just what we got done learning. You do then have a day off scheduled just to kind of take a breather, and then your national exam is going to be on that Thursday at noon in the ESC. You're going to want to make sure to bring a graphing calculator with you and a handful of pencils just in case you need a few more. Typically in the past, students have gotten out and finished with the exam probably around 3:30 if you want to plan for that accordingly. So that's an overview of what you can expect to have covered in the next 18 days as we prepare for your exam. Now, all of the various assignments on these days do have their own deadlines, and let me just give you a quick highlight of what those are. You all were given this table showing the various deadlines, and I will refresh your memory as we start each week on when things are due. This also gives you a nice breakdown of where the 4,000 participation points will be coming from and when we will cover the various topics. So feel free to let me know if you have any questions as we start wrapping up the book and jumping in to this review to prep you for your national exam.